The night sky is a canvas of mysteries, but some of the greatest riddles are hidden within our own minds. Paradoxes, statements that defy logic, challenge our understanding, much like black holes challenge physics. Consider, this statement is false. It loops endlessly, forcing us to question what truth even means. Paradoxes aren't just word games, they're the universe's way of pushing us to think deeper. Throughout history, these puzzles have sparked revolutions in science and philosophy. Join us as we explore paradoxes that reveal the strange, beautiful limits of reality. Our minds rely on logic to make sense of the world until paradoxes turn that logic upside down. Take the ancient riddle. All Cretans are liars, said by a Cretan. If he's telling the truth, he's lying. If he's lying, he's telling the truth. Paradoxes like this expose the cracks in our reasoning, forcing us to confront the limits of our understanding. They're not mistakes. They're invitations to rethink what we know. At the edge of reason, paradoxes become gateways to new ideas. Ready to step into the unknown? Humans are wired to solve problems. Our brains reward us for cracking puzzles. Paradoxes are the ultimate challenge problems with no clear solution, or two contradictory answers at once. They fascinate us because they disrupt our certainties and force us to think in new ways. From the Ship of Theseus to quantum cats, paradoxes stretch our minds and spark wonder. Solving them isn't just about answers. It's about seeing reality from a fresh perspective. That's why we can't let them go. Our journey through paradoxes will span ancient Greece to modern science. We'll race Achilles against a tortoise, meet a barber who shaves only those who don't shave themselves, and open Schrödinger's box. These puzzles aren't just for philosophers. They shape math, physics, and even our daily lives. Paradoxes force us to confront infinity, identity, and the nature of reality itself. By the end, you'll see paradoxes as tools for thinking and creativity. Let's begin the adventure. A paradox isn't just a contradiction or a mistake. It's a logical recipe that leads to an impossible result. Unlike irony or simple puzzles, paradoxes reveal deep conflicts in our understanding. They're stress tests for our knowledge, exposing blank spots on our mental maps. Wrestling with paradoxes forces us to rethink truth, identity, and even time. They're not just games, they're catalysts for progress. Every paradox is a sign that we're on the verge of a new discovery. A paradox starts with statements we all agree on, follows logical steps, and ends in a conclusion that seems impossible. The classic liar paradox, this statement is false, creates a loop that logic can't resolve. Paradoxes force us to question our assumptions and reveal the hidden complexity of truth and logic. Not all paradoxes are created equal. Philosopher Willard Van Orman Quine grouped them into three flavors: veridical, which seem absurd but are true; falsidical, which seem true but are false; and antinomies, which defy logic itself. These categories help us understand the strange, fascinating world of paradoxes. Paradoxes aren't just problems, they're signposts. The Barber paradox, for example, reveals cracks in our logic, showing us where our thinking needs rebuilding. Paradoxes like these don't end the journey, they point the way to deeper understanding. They're the universe's invitation to explore, question, and discover something new. In ancient Greece, Zeno of Elea challenged our understanding of motion with a simple race: Achilles versus a tortoise. Achilles gives the tortoise a head start. Each time Achilles reaches where the tortoise was, the tortoise has moved ahead. This repeats infinitely, so Achilles never overtakes the tortoise, at least according to Zeno's logic. The paradox puzzled thinkers for centuries, until calculus showed how infinite steps can sum to a finite result. In ancient Greece, the Ship of Theseus was preserved by replacing its rotting planks over time. After every part was replaced, was it still the same ship? If someone rebuilt the original ship from the old planks, which is the true Ship of Theseus? This ancient puzzle asks us, what truly makes something or someone the same over time? The Sorite's paradox asks, when does a heap of sand become a heap? Add one grain at a time, and logic says it never does, yet we know heaps exist. The paradox exposes how vague concepts like heap or bald defy sharp boundaries, challenging logic and language in philosophy, law, medicine, and even artificial intelligence. We've hinted at this one before, but it is so fundamental, so beautifully destructive, that it deserves its own spotlight. The liar paradox is ancient, but its power to disrupt our understanding of truth is timeless. It is the ultimate puzzle of self-reference, where a statement turns its analytical gaze upon itself. The simplest and most potent version is the sentence. This statement is false. It is a sentence of only 4 words, yet it has the power to tie logic into an unbreakable knot. Let's walk through the loop one more time, carefully. We begin with a basic assumption of classical logic. Every declarative sentence is either true or false. There is no third option. Let's test the first possibility. Assume the statement. This statement is false is true. If it is true, then what it says must be correct. What it says is that the statement is false. Therefore, if we assume it is true, we are forced to conclude that it is false. This is a direct contradiction. Our initial assumption has led us to its own opposite, which is logically impossible. A statement cannot be both true and false. So, our first path has crumbled into absurdity. Our assumption that the statement is true must be wrong. That leaves only one other possibility according to our rules. So let's try the second possibility. Assume the statement, this statement is false. If it is false, then what it says must be incorrect. The statement says that it is false. If that is incorrect, it must mean the statement is not false. And if it is not false, our rules of logic say it must be true. So if we assume it is false, we are forced to conclude that it is true. Once again, we have a direct contradiction. We are stuck. The statement is true if and only if it is false. It is a perfect logical loop, with no beginning and no end, from which there is no escape using our standard rules. This tiny sentence creates a genuine antinomy, a paradox that reveals a deep flaw in our system of thought. It shows that the concepts of truth and falsehood, when combined with self-reference, can become unstable and break down. Logicians and philosophers have wrestled with this for millennia. Some have proposed that such sentences are neither true nor false, but are simply meaningless. Others, like the great logician Alfred Tarski, suggested that a language cannot contain its own definition of truth without creating contradictions. The liar paradox forces us to be much more careful about language, truth, and logic, showing us that even our most fundamental concepts have limits. Our final philosophical paradox takes us out of the ancient world and into the realm of science fiction, but its roots are firmly planted in deep questions about time, causality, and free will. This is the famous grandfather paradox. Imagine you have built a time machine. You decide to conduct an experiment. You travel back in time to a point before your own parents were born. You find your grandfather when he was a young, unmarried man, and you kill him. The question is, what happens next? The logic of the situation immediately spirals into a mind-bending contradiction that challenges the very possibility of time travel to the past. Let's trace the chain of cause and effect, which is the bedrock of how we understand reality. If you succeed in killing your grandfather, he will never meet your grandmother. This means your father or mother will never be conceived. If your parent is never born, then you, the time traveler, can never be born either. But if you were never born, then you could not have existed to build a time machine, travel back in time, and kill your grandfather in the first place. So, the act of killing your grandfather ensures that you would not exist to perform the act. The act undermines its own cause, creating an impossible, self-canceling loop. This paradox presents a powerful argument against the possibility of changing the past. Any action you take to alter a historical event that is essential to your own existence would prevent you from taking that action. The universe seems to have a built-in consistency check. But how does this work? Philosophers and physicists have proposed several ingenious solutions to escape the paradox. One idea is that the past is fixed and unchangeable. You could travel back in time, but you would be physically incapable of killing your grandfather. Your gun would jam, you would slip on a banana peel, or you would simply change your mind. The laws of physics would conspire to ensure the timeline remains consistent. Another fascinating solution is the many worlds or multiverse hypothesis. In this view, when you travel back in time and kill your grandfather, you don't change your own past. Instead, you create a new branching timeline, a parallel universe. In this new universe, your grandfather is dead and you will never be born. But you, the time traveler, still exist because you came from the original timeline where he lived. You are now a visitor in a parallel reality that you created, and you can never return to your own original timeline because it now springs from a history you are no longer a part of. The grandfather paradox, born from a simple what if, forces us to contemplate the fundamental nature of time and reality itself. In mathematics, logic reigns supreme. Yet even here, paradoxes lurk. Bertrand Russell's Barber paradox exposed a flaw in set theory, the foundation of modern math. The barber shaves all who don't shave themselves, but who shaves the barber? This contradiction forced mathematicians to rethink the very rules of sets, saving mathematics from collapse. Imagine a hotel with infinite rooms, Hilbert's Grand Hotel. Even when every room is full, a new guest can always be accommodated. The manager simply shifts each guest to the next room, freeing up room 1. Even an infinite busload of guests can fit. Just move everyone to even-numbered rooms. Infinity isn't just big, it's wonderfully strange. Welcome to the strange world of quantum mechanics where reality defies common sense. Schrödinger's cat, inside a sealed box with a radioactive atom, illustrates a quantum paradox. Until we look, the cat is both alive and dead, a superposition that challenges our understanding of reality. This measurement problem remains one of science's greatest mysteries. Einstein's theory of special relativity reveals time is not absolute. In the twin paradox, Stella rockets near light speed while her twin Tara stays on Earth. Stella returns younger. She's aged just 10 years, while Tara has aged 80. Acceleration breaks the symmetry, proving time truly bends with motion. Our final scientific paradox takes us from the subatomic and the relativistic to the vast cosmic scale. We look up at the night sky filled with billions of stars in our galaxy alone and billions of other galaxies beyond that. In recent decades, astronomers have discovered that planets are incredibly common. It seems likely that there are billions, perhaps trillions, of Earth-like planets in our Milky Way galaxy. Given these staggering numbers, it seems almost inevitable that life and even intelligent technological civilizations should have arisen on many of these worlds. Some of these civilizations would be millions of years older and far more advanced than our own. This line of reasoning leads to a profound and unsettling question, famously posed by the physicist Enrico Fermi during a lunch conversation in 1950. If the universe is teeming with intelligent life, and if some of that life has had billions of years to develop technology for interstellar travel, then why haven't we seen any evidence of them? Why haven't they visited us? Why haven't we picked up their radio signals, seen their giant engineering projects, or found their probes exploring our solar system? After a simple calculation of the probabilities, Fermi asked the simple, powerful question that now bears his name. Where is everybody? This is the Fermi paradox. The stark contradiction between the high probability of the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations and the complete lack of any evidence for their existence. It's a paradox of silence. The universe should be a noisy, bustling place, filled with the signs of countless cultures. But when we listen, all we hear is an eerie quiet. This silence is deeply puzzling and has led to dozens of proposed solutions, some of which are exciting and some of which are frankly terrifying. The possible answers force us to confront our place in the cosmos and the potential future of humanity. Perhaps intelligent life is incredibly rare, and the specific sequence of events that led to us on Earth has almost never happened anywhere else. This is the rare Earth hypothesis. Or maybe intelligent civilizations inevitably destroy themselves through war, environmental collapse, or technological accidents before they can ever master interstellar travel. This is the Great Filter Theory, a chilling possibility. Other ideas suggest they are out there but are deliberately hiding from us, the zoo hypothesis, or that their technology is so advanced we simply can't recognize their signals. The Fermi paradox remains unsolved, a cosmic question mark that hangs over all of our explorations of the universe. Paradoxes aren't just for philosophers. They shape our daily lives. The paradox of choice shows that more options can actually make us less happy. Faced with endless choices, we feel overwhelmed, anxious, and less satisfied. Sometimes true freedom comes from simplifying, choosing good enough, and finding contentment in our decisions. Buridan's ass is a classic paradox. A donkey, placed exactly between hay and water, can't choose and starves. It's not really about donkeys, it's about us. When faced with two equally good options, pure logic can freeze us. Sometimes the only way forward is to just pick one and move on. Catch-22, coined by Joseph Heller, is a paradoxical trap. You can't escape because the rules contradict themselves. In the novel, pilots can only be grounded if insane, but asking to be grounded proves sanity. It's a perfect loop, no way out. We see catch-22s everywhere, where rules themselves become the trap. The unexpected hanging paradox is a puzzle of logic and surprise. A judge tells a prisoner he'll be hanged one day next week, but it will be a surprise. The prisoner reasons it can't happen, yet when the hangman arrives, he's shocked. This paradox shows how logic can twist our expectations in unexpected ways. Paradoxes are a gymnasium for the mind. Wrestling with them builds our mental muscles, sharpening our critical thinking and helping us spot flawed reasoning in daily life. By questioning, analyzing, and embracing paradoxes, we make our intellect a more powerful tool for navigating the world. Paradoxes are the sand in the oyster that creates the pearl of discovery. They act as engines of progress, flashing red lights that reveal the limits of our knowledge and spark breakthroughs in science, mathematics, and creativity. Embracing paradoxes leads to innovation, as the friction between opposites ignites the spark of invention. Perhaps the most profound lesson that paradoxes teach us is a philosophical one, a lesson in intellectual humility. They are a constant and powerful reminder that the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine. No matter how much we learn, no matter how powerful our theories become, there will always be horizons we have not yet reached and depths we have not yet plumbed. A paradox is a direct confrontation with the limits of human reason. It shows us, in the clearest possible terms, that our understanding of reality is a work in progress, not a finished masterpiece. This realization is essential for a healthy scientific and personal outlook. This humility is the antidote to dogmatism. When we truly appreciate the lessons of paradoxes like the Sorites paradox, which shows the fuzziness of our own language, or the liar paradox, which reveals cracks in the concept of truth itself, it becomes much harder to be absolutely certain about our own beliefs. We learn that our mental models are just that, models. They are useful maps, but they are not the territory itself. This perspective encourages open-mindedness and a willingness to revise our beliefs in the face of new evidence. It fosters a spirit of inquiry rather than a spirit of certainty, which is the very essence of the scientific endeavor and a cornerstone of a tolerant society. Embracing the uncertainty revealed by paradoxes can also be personally liberating. In a world that often demands simple answers and clear-cut solutions, paradoxes give us permission to be comfortable with ambiguity and complexity. The paradox of choice teaches us that we don't need to find the perfect answer to be happy. The Ship of Theseus shows us that identity is a fluid and complex question with no easy solution. Acknowledging these gray areas can reduce our anxiety and the pressure to have everything figured out. It allows us to see life not as a set of problems to be solved, but as a series of fascinating mysteries to be lived and explored with curiosity and wonder. In the end, paradoxes are a gift from the universe. They are cosmic riddles that keep our minds sharp, drive our discoveries forward, and temper our intellectual pride with a necessary dose of humility. They teach us that the most exciting and productive position to be in is not one of having all the answers, but one of being in awe of the right questions. They invite us to stand at the edge of reason, to look out into the vast ocean of the unknown, and to feel a sense of profound wonder at the beautiful, baffling, and endlessly fascinating nature of existence. This sense of wonder is the greatest lesson of all. Our journey through the mind-bending world of paradoxes is now coming to a close. We have traveled from the philosophical academies of ancient Greece to the frontiers of modern cosmology. We have raced a tortoise that could not be beaten and peeked inside a box holding a cat that was both alive and dead. We have questioned the identity of a ship, the logic of a barber, and the surprising silence of the cosmos. Through it all, we have seen that paradoxes are far more than just clever riddles or logical games. They are fundamental features of the landscape of knowledge, signposts that mark the very limits of our understanding and point the way toward new intellectual territory waiting to be explored. These beautiful, maddening puzzles have shown us the power and the fragility of human reason. They demonstrate how our most trusted tool, logic, can be turned against itself to produce conclusions that seem impossible. From Zeno's arrows that never moved to the judge's surprise hanging that must happen, paradoxes force us to scrutinize our most basic assumptions about the world. They challenge our intuitive notions of truth, infinity, identity, and time. This process of questioning is not destructive, it is profoundly constructive. It is the friction that sparks the fire of discovery, pushing us to refine our languages, our mathematics, and our scientific theories into more powerful and accurate forms. The lessons learned from these intellectual adventures are not confined to the ivory towers of academia. They seep into our everyday lives, changing how we think about the choices we make and the world we perceive. The paradox of choice cautions us against the modern myth that more is always better, teaching us to find freedom in simplicity. The story of Buridan's ass reminds us that pure, cold rationality can sometimes lead to paralysis, and that a leap of faith, or even a random impulse, is a vital part of being human. The Catch-22 gives us a name for the maddening bureaucratic loops we encounter, helping us to identify and challenge systems that are designed to be inescapable traps of logic. Ultimately, paradoxes are a testament to the fact that our quest for knowledge is an infinite one. For every circle of light we create with our understanding, we also create a new and larger circumference of darkness to explore. The universe, it seems, is built in such a way as to always be one step ahead of our comprehension, leaving us a trail of these beautiful contradictions as clues. They are not problems to be solved and discarded, but rather companions on our journey. They keep us humble, they keep us curious, and they ensure that the grand adventure of discovery will never, ever end. The edge of our knowledge is the edge of forever. So what is the final takeaway from our exploration of the impossible? What can we hold on to as we step away from these tangled loops of logic? The answer, I believe, is a renewed and deepened sense of wonder. Paradoxes are the universe's way of reminding us that reality is far more strange, more complex, and more magical than our everyday experience suggests. They pull back the curtain on the mundane, revealing the intricate and often counterintuitive machinery that hums just beneath the surface of things. They show us that even the simplest questions, what is sameness? What is truth? What is a heap? Can blossom into profound and beautiful mysteries when we look at them closely enough. This sense of wonder is not a childish or naive state. It is the engine of all science and art. It is the feeling that drove Einstein to ask what the world would look like if you rode on a beam of light. It is the curiosity that compels astronomers to peer into the silent darkness of space, asking the question posed by Fermi, "Where is everybody?" Wonder is the refusal to accept the world as it appears at face value. It is the desire to ask why and what if, over and over again. Paradoxes are a direct injection of this vital nutrient for the mind. They prevent our thinking from becoming stale, rigid, and dogmatic, keeping our intellects flexible and open to new possibilities. I encourage you to carry this spirit of paradoxical inquiry with you. When you encounter a contradiction or a puzzle in your own life, do not shy away from it. Embrace it, play with it, turn it over in your mind. See it not as a frustrating roadblock, but as an invitation to think more deeply and more creatively. Question your own assumptions. Challenge the common sense that we so often take for granted. By doing so, you will be participating in the same grand tradition of thought as the philosophers, mathematicians, and scientists we have discussed. You will be sharpening your mind, expanding your perspective, and connecting with the deeper mysteries of existence. The universe is full of mysteries. It is a vast cosmic ocean, and we are just beginning to dip our toes in its waters. The paradoxes are the strange and beautiful shells you find on the shoreline, each one a clue to the vast and unknown depths that lie beyond. They are an invitation, extended to every one of us, to never stop questioning, never stop exploring, and never, ever lose our capacity for wonder. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. And paradoxes are mystery in its purest form. The journey is the reward.